Hi everyone, and welcome to this month's roast. So it's this month's mug, but it's also this month's roast. So I am your host, and for those who don't know me, my name is Amy. I'm part of the customer success team here at Providence for Monday.com, and today I am joined with the fantastic Cian Brennan, and he is also part of the customer success team. So before we dive in, we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. So the demo it will run for approximately 30 minutes, and we'll aim to keep it under that. But this is an open discussion. Um, However, this is a particular session that we really, really want you guys to get on board and be involved with, as we are going to be roasting people's boards in the kindest possible way, of course. So please feel free to drop any questions or feedback or anything like that into the chat as we go. And for those who do want to get involved, there's also going to be a prize. So you'll receive a recording um, at the end of it. Sorry, you will receive a recording of this session tomorrow. And along with that, you'll receive a survey. So we'd love your feedback. And also, this is a great opportunity for you to be able to suggest some features or topics that you guys want to discuss in their next mug session, which will be next month. So on this month's agenda, so what will get cooked? What well-cooked boards look like. So I'm going to show you what the five key principles for building your great boards are. Then we're going to go into the live boards, tear it down. And then we have the prizes draw. And then we have the Q&A. Your board setup. So this is the thing. This is their best practices. So before we get roasting, we want to make sure that we all know what a well-cooked board looks like. So the common mistake that we see is that people they start adding columns and colors. As we know, Monday is so it's so beautiful. It's literally like one of the handiest thing that we have. So but we start adding columns and columns, and then we don't actually know what the board is meant to do. So you need to ask yourself, what is it that we're tracking? Like, what are the stages, the setups? What are the steps that we need to take through each and every item that we go through? And then also, who's responsible for each stage? So, with this, we need to define what one purpose is, what the one purpose and users are. We need to structure our boards, structure our groups. You also need to have you need to use clear and actionable item names. And then we need to add columns and views. And then finally, we need to automate all those repetitive steps just in order to save time. Work smarter, not harder. So to recap, we need to plan your flow, you need structure with intention, and then you also need to start simple and then evolve as you go. And now that you
Mhm.
know the rules, it's now time to break them and let's roast. Let's see what happens when those simple things that you involve into your plan go to plan. You know. So, Keen, are you ready to roast?
Let's go. Let's go. Now, spoiler alert, this first board has actually won the prize. So I'm not going to say you sent in the board, but you won the prize and we'll be in touch with email after this to let you know what the prize is. So yeah, go on to the next slide. We'll have a look and we'll start the little roast. Cool. Perfect. So if you guys need to see this, I'm pretty sure you can make this full screen quite easily. You just click onto this and click the expand button in case it's kind of hard to see for you guys. So let's bring up the board. So as we can see, this is a board that was sent in by somebody. We can see it's a key account action plan for Alica Bank. Okay, so I want you guys to have a look at this board, spend a minute looking around. If anyone has any kind of ideas about how they think about the board, jump off mute, let us know what you think, or type it into the chat. Just take a second to review it there, guys. And then I will give you my opinions on this board. No, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all.
No,
But
not at
just
all.
give it a look here. Give it a look here and see how it's structured. So we can see it's structured by month. We definitely have some kind of key columns in there, So there is a few things to appreciate on this board. So it is structured around your monthly goals. You have your kind of key details like your status columns, your outcomes, stakeholders, and progress. Um, but the thing is, like, I'm looking at this. and everything seems like it's tracked kind of manually, right? So we can
Mm,
see here, like, I think the main thing that's kind of glaring at you is nothing's really filled in. And it feels like it's being a bit more like used like a spreadsheet or something, like an Excel file. And
yeah.
Monday is a lot better than this, in my opinion. I think we can really improve this board. So as you can see here, like on all these tasks, our progress is at 0. There's no real dynamic grouping or filtering by priority and stuff. So I think this board is great. It gets the job done, but you really have to kind of be on top of it, and you kind of have to put in a bit more work, I think. So I'm going to show you guys what I would do, um, just to make this work a little bit better. So Amy, if you can move to the next slide.
Sure.
Now, yeah. So this is going to be, I'm going to go back to my board now in a second, right? But I'm just kind of thinking about how this structure would work. So looking at that account board, it's kind of obvious that this client has like a list of customers that they need to track, right? And reports on. So I think the best thing that you could do first is set up kind of like an accounts portfolio. So there's
Yeah.
some benefits to doing that. So you could use either the portfolio solution that's in the enterprise plan of Monday, or you can kind of replicate this just using a high level board. So to do that, what you need to do is kind of just have a list of accounts that you work with and then put them into this portfolio. So here we can immediately see kind of like our overall account health, what's on track, what's not on track, what's at risk. So we're mirroring up from the board level the account progress and the status columns, as you can see here. So you can see account health on the left, we can see account progress on the right. That's our status columns filtering up to this higher level board. We also have a priority column, so it's easy to see which accounts we need to prioritize. We also have the stages of the account plans. And then we can see our plan timeline versus actual timeline. So here you can set a plan timeline overall. So like, what is your plan for the account? When do you want to achieve that particular plan? But then actual timeline takes the date and timeline columns in your lower level board and filters it up. So I think this is great for, say, if execs want to go in and have a look and see what's going on
Mm,
at a glance with an account, they can do that. We also have an account plan document here on the right in a Monday doc. So this could be like an overall idea or overall plan that you have for the account. So I think setting up something like that, as you can see, under the kind of longer tab at the top, we have our workspaces down there. So you can see Cian's demo space. I have it in like a folder where I have an accounts portfolio. We have then the different banks under that are mirrored up to the portfolio solution. And then we have a contacts board we could use if we needed to. So if you
fantastic.
want now, Amy, move on to the next
Yeah.
slide, and
Sure.
we'll zoom in to the actual board and the changes that were made to the board. Okay. So the first thing you're going to see is it's a little bit more clear to know what we need to do on this. So the
Mm,
first group I have there is a high level account plan. So I think it's a good idea to have a group dedicated to your overall high level things that you want to achieve with an account instead of like monthly September, October, November things you're going to do. Now, we also do have like a tab at the top, which is task by date, which I'll go into in a second. But I think a high level account plan first is key to like drive your big wins on accounts. It could be used for stuff like getting deals signed off or meeting with executives, that sort of stuff. So the next section is tasks. So this is just one group that's replacing all the previous groups that we had. Okay. So it's broken down into more manageable pieces and we have subtasks too. So you can see there on our tasks, we have like our solution alignment, we have, our support, but a lot of these tasks require subtasks beneath them. So say if we want to make sure we're delivering that exceptional support, we probably have a few things we need to do. So as you can see under that, I have some subtasks, which are send the slide deck, send the survey. Okay. Now, a lot of people don't use deadlines on their timeline columns and due date columns. So I think this is super important. So it makes it a little bit more clear what's overdue or what needs some attention. So all you need to do is click on like three dots on the due date column and on the timeline column, and you can set a deadline against them as well, which really helps. So, you can kind of see things a lot clearer there. We also have a completed task group. That's one thing I didn't notice on the last board is when your mark a task is done, it still stays there. It's nice to, kind of celebrate your wins and then have your group for
Mm.
all the tasks that you completed against that account. Okay, making sense so far?
Mhm.
Any questions so far on this from anyone? Sorry, my voice is
No
gone today.
question.
Okay, we got a thumbs up. That's good. That's good to know. Okay, so we can continue on here. So yeah, so now it's a lot more clear. We can see what's being worked on, what's done, etc. Our owners are clearly assigned, and we also have a dependency column. So if you see on the high level account plan here, we have dependent on. So we can set dependencies. So say getting a sign off on a certain deal is kind of, pinning on our first task, which is that office visit. So what that is used for is, you see we have the timeline column, which is July 1 to 15, and then our sign off is July 16th. That date will automatically get updated. So if we say the office visit was delayed for a week, once we change the timeline for the office visit, then the sign off on the deal will change automatically. So that again is going to save you some time. I think automations too. So when you're setting a board up from the start, I know it's easy to just try and put in like all the things that you need to do that day. But if you even take 5 minutes to set up some key automations, you're going to save yourself so much time down the line. And what you should also do is, once you have your structure, is to save it as a template. So whenever it comes to creating a new project again, it'll take you 2 seconds and everything's there ready to go. So some key automations you should use is like a date reminder automation. So
Mhm.
one of them is when a date arrives, or 3 days before a date arrives, remind me about that item, for example. Another one is just when an item is done, move it to that group, etc., etc. So beyond that stuff, beyond the structure, we also have like a timeline based view. So
Yeah,
I just created another view which is task by date. So this kind of replicates the
brilliant.
old way of working and that the client did like. And I think it does make sense to have, specific things in specific months. But by adding this view, it's just a lot easier because it'll show you next week, next month. It's a bit more clear to see, the urgency when it comes to your items. So to do that, all you need to do is click the plus icon beside your main table, click table view, and then group it by date. So you can see you have your new task person filter up there. If you group it by date, then it will automatically put everything in order, and it's a lot easier to see. So it's super easy to go from your main view. You just click on your new tab, and then you can see what's due next week, next month, all that sort of stuff. So it's really nice. So again, it makes prioritizing things just a breeze, really. Because with the
Mm.
old board, you're kind of looking at it and you don't know where to start. So I think this is a good way to do it. Um, and that's kind of really the main things that I would do. Again, there was a documents column in the board that was submitted. I would create a view especially for documents, so you can easily go to your documents and you
Brilliant.
can see them all there with a nice view. So yeah, I think it makes a huge difference. So instead of the board being super static, you have different areas you can go to. You can quickly find your items, and you have those automations set up that are going to help you. So I think that's it for me. Hopefully, you guys get some ideas when it comes to like managing your portfolio of clients. I think this is a great way to do it, and it's super
Mhm.
simple to set up. It only took me like 15 minutes to get all that sorted. So yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. No, that's fantastic, Ian. Thanks so much.
No
That was
worries.
a good roast. I feel that was
A loving
fantastic, and
roast.
yeah, it was a loving roast. That's the thing. It was a loving roast. So that's why I'm kind of starting to feel a little bit bad about how much I'm going to roast this board.
Oh damn.
So this is the board that I was sent. Um, so I am going to try and do this with love, absolutely. Um, but there's a few things that just absolutely pop out to me, and if there's something that pops out to you guys, I want you to tell me what's wrong with this board. Like to me, I can see six things already. That's not right. So put it in the chat. What do you think is not right with this board? So first and foremost, I hope that you guys can see that
Hmm.
it is basically it's ownerless. So it's like an orphan. It is basically there's nobody attached to these. There's ghosts working on this. You know, there's nobody attached to the deals. So like where the owners of this. That's the first thing that I can
Mm.
see. Second thing is the discovery. So You can see here the stages that are built within this. There's only two-thirds of the pipe is actually active, so the rest is stuck in discovery. Like so, to me, it's kind of like, are your sales reps curious or are they actually closers? So, you need to really move these things along. Let's get moving with these sales. Do you know? Next thing that I noticed on this one was your Apple deal. So, with the Apple deal, so you're seeing that it's forecasted, but sorry, there's no forecasting here. So you've got your forecast, but there's no probability here. So basically, it's like, to me that just screams that it's a false hope in the spreadsheet. You know, um, there's no forecast. There's no forecast, so you've no probability, no forecast. There's no information really. It is empty. It's empty information that you have here. So that's another thing that I notice. The next thing then is the color coding. So the color coding that I notice, it's like there's no urgency. There's no like my dopamine hits are by colors. I like something that's the great thing about Monday is that you can add color. You can add things that kind of like you can add emojis. You can add everything that makes it kind of like stand out. Like, there's no urgency within this. There's no visual signals that say, okay, this is late. There's something that there's on hold, or even like the hit of dopamine that you get from like this is a win. We have slight only on the close ones here, but it's like the bright green, like what's one? Like right now it's just blue and it's kind of like a bit of a sad blue. But yeah, it needs more vibrancy. There needs more color within it. Um, and then the next thing as well that I noticed that there's no next steps. Um, yeah, there's no next step. So there's no next step column as well. So there's no task reminders, no follow-up automations. It's like the deals are kind of like in a situationship. There's no close, no moving. It's kind of just vibing throughout it. So yeah, that's another thing that I kind of see. Um, then as well the activity timeline, which is here. Like it's great in theory, but there's no color. There is no activity. So it's totally empty. So, it's like a museum of emptiness, really. Um, and then the next thing that I notice here is Amazon's deal. I don't know if you can see my cursor, or is it the screen good enough? So you've got Amazon's deal. So this here is basically one of the highest values that you have. But there's no next steps. There's no activity. There's no owner. It's just chilling in discovery. So you've 70% chance of being in next month's or next quarter, or even next quarter's sale. Um, so that's just another thing that I noticed. Then, um, the next thing that I can see is that there's no lost group. So you don't really know what happens next. What happens next with this? Like, does the deal just die? Does it get deleted? Or like, are we going to just shove it under the carpet? Like, where is this deal going? Whether it's there or not, what's the next steps? So to me, as I know I'm pretty harsh, but like my final verdict on this is that at a glance it does look good, but when you actually look under the hood, there's no ownership. There's no motivation in this board really. There's no accountability, and we just don't really know where anything on this board is going. Um, yeah. So what I have done is I'm just going to share my screen now.
Yeah, if I can just jump in on a question in the chat there, Amy, while you
Oh
while you
yeah,
load that up.
absolutely.
So Adrian had a good point. Where at the moment in the CRM, when you're putting in new deals, you can't make certain columns mandatory. So I was on a call with Monday. I don't know if I should be saying this or not, but there it is on the roadmap. I think for this year to make columns mandatory. I think it should have been there for a while, but there is still a workaround for this, Adrian. So if you were to add a form view and get your employees to fill in the information through a form view, you can make the questions then mandatory on that view. So when you go to edit the form settings, you can make some of the questions and some of the stuff that you need to fill in mandatory. So right now, that's the only way you can get the deals in and make sure there's that accountability there. But right now, I fully agree. With that, it's hard to get people to fill in all the information that's needed. So right now, that'll be the workaround. As soon as the mandatory fields are released, I'm sure you'll get an email from Monday, or I'll be in contact with you and I'll let you know. And go ahead, Amy. Sorry about that.
No, no problem. I love it. But that actually is coming in very very soon. I think it's actually in the next month or so that that's going to come mandatory.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you didn't get any spoilers really. Um. Okay, so this is my new and improved board that I had from the previous one. So you've got your deal name, and then right from the get go, you can see here you've got your owner. So this is so important. You've got your assigned salesperson in this task, or sorry, in this column. The other thing that as well that I want to show is first and foremost, you need to have your pipeline stages. So you've got your new leads. There was only two, I think it was closed one from the previous one, but you need new leads, contact, contacted, qualified, proposal sent, negotiation, close one, and close last. You need to see exactly where all of your deals are. If you don't know where they are, then you really don't know what you're working with. Do you know what I mean? So, and then yeah, as I was saying, you've got your contact person. It's your assigned sales rep. Sorry, one second. My apologies. And then what's really important here is that you've got your set or your contact person. So from this, I've actually got this linked into your contacts board. So therefore, it means that anybody that you link, if you contact, if sorry, you link in your contact, and also as well, it will link into your account name. So therefore, any deal that you have associated with either the account name or with that person will link in with that account, which is really good. And it's really important for you to be able to manage where your leads are coming from or where or who what account they're associated to. Next, then you've got your deal stage. So that's this is where you know exactly where your your deal is going. So and they're associated. Then your labels are all associated to the next stage of where your deal is. Then you've got your next steps. So this is what do we do next? Do we send a quote? Do we do a follow up? And we can associate them there again, knowing exactly where you are and where you stand with your next steps. And then you've got your next step date. So this, I think, Cian, you mentioned it on yours as well. You're able to put in here where do you when is it that you actually filter into your next step, and then you can also set a reminder if you click into your settings. Click into settings, and you can customize the date color. Or you can set a deadline. Or I find really helpful is that you can add a date reminder. So if you need to be able to follow up with that client, whether it's send an email, send or give them a call, it will give you a reminder of when you need to do that, which is really good. Then you've got your value of which obviously is very important. I'll just roll across here. And then your expected close date. So when is it that you're expecting to close the deal? And you can again set a timer, and then as you can see, you've got like a countdown timer as well when it gets close to the date. Then you've got your probability, so it's going to forecast forecast what it is the probability of you actually being able to close the date. But without this information before here, you won't be able to give that probability. So it's just letting you know exactly when or what's the probability of you being able to close the deal and be able to close one. Um, then you've got your forecast value, and this is your deal value multiplied by your probability. So that's where you get this from. And then you've got your deal source. So this is like, where did you get that referral from? Like, is it something that came in house, or is it something that came from a website, or was it from LinkedIn, that kind of way? And then really important, you've got your lost reason. So this is like a text drop down that I have, and you're able to just kind of give more information of, why was this close loss? Like what? And it's really just important for the close loss group as well. And let me see what else I built in here. Oh, and then obviously your files. So your files is kind of what I put in here is your like proposals, your contracts, everything that you want to have within here. And then there's other things. I know we're really close on time now, so there's other things here that we have, like there's automations that you can set up. So the automations, like when your stage has gone from one to another, that's when you want to move that. And sorry, just because I just realised what time it was. Is there any questions or feedback that anybody else has from this particular board that they want to kind of give an insight to or input?
Yeah, so I've seen Adrian's comment again. He was wondering about the pipeline view. So if you just go onto the pipeline view, Amy, at the top.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah,
Yes, yes. So I'll go through that. So
brilliant.
pipeline view is basically just a filtered Kanban view. So pipeline view is like your forecast. So you're right in thinking that the forecast is the deal value multiplied by your probability.
Yeah,
So the forecast is a formula column. So you
yes,
just need to add a formula column, rename a forecast, and then in that, it's going to ask you to select the columns that the formula you want to calculate. So you're going to calculate, the first column you'll choose the deal value, and then you're going to do multiply sign, and then the other column will be probability, and that will give you the right forecast. And by default in the CRM, the probability is calculated by the deal stage, but if you want, you can put in the probability manually. But that's what it is. And then you just create a new view, a new Kanban view, and then you filter it where it's only showing you the pipeline. So yeah,
mm,
that's that's
yeah,
that's what you do there. Yeah.
brilliant. Okay, perfect. Sorry, we're so close to time now. Was there any other questions then?
I just want to remind some guys that we do after this we have a separate breakout room. So if you guys have a board that you want to share with us, we have 15 minutes after this call if you want to join that. So you can sit at the table with us
Yeah.
and we can go through it with you. Perfect. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, everybody, though.